All right, y'all. So welcome to the Mad Good Knicks show. If you didn't check out the last episode, which was just our initial reaction to Thibs and some back and forth about what we or why we don't like him or why we do like him. All right, Jay, you're excused. We'll wait.
He needs a glass of water.
You're like DMX for a bathroom break.
This motherfucking
What, you need a break?
I need to drink to listen, nigga.
Go ahead, nigga. Go ahead. We're going to take a 5-minute commercial break. You understand me?
All right. So let's continue this conversation on Thibs. He has quite the colorful history in terms of where fans land on him. But I think one of the biggest benefits could potentially be his coaching staff. A lot of great options out there. He's known as a defensive mind. Will we keep on Mike Miller, for example? So, T, I'll throw this over to you to start off.
I'm going to say this. To me, it's an absolute no-brainer. You have to keep on Mike Miller. And I say that because last season we went through a difficult stretch, from Fizdale to Mike Miller. And then to bring on Tom Thibodeau, who has no relationship with any of these guys, I think to keep some sort of consistency and stability, you have to bring back a guy like Mike Miller who can be that buffer, that go-to guy between Tom Thibodeau and the players. They already feel like they have a relationship with him. And from what I understand, the players really, really enjoyed their time with Mike Miller. So to me, it's an absolute must that you bring him back. And forget all of that. He merits a comeback. This guy has done a terrific job. Now, with that being said, I also think we should bring back Mike Woodson, who wrongfully got terminated the first time around, even begged Phil Jackson that he'll learn the triangle and still got clipped. He was our last successful coach, and so I think he belongs here in New York. He should have never left. God only knows what would have happened if he stayed. But, having him on the bench, I think that would make me feel a lot better about hiring Thibodeau. I preferred a guy like Kenny Atkinson because I knew what he did with players.
Yeah.
But, it's funny we speak on this because I don't think what Atkinson did really well, what his strong suit was, is what Leon Rose has in mind for this organization. Right? Kenny Atkinson is a great player development. Now, why would you hire that guy if you don't plan on developing these players very long? You plan on bringing in guys who are already established, i.e. Zach LaVine, Chris Paul, Devin Booker, just throwing out some names that we've heard of recently, Victor Oladipo. These guys are already established stars. Giannis,
so you
don't bring
possible.
in a guy like Kenny Atkinson who Kyrie Irving and Kevin Durant kind of said, we really don't want to play for here. So, you bring in Tom Thibodeau, you bring in Mike Woodson, and you bring in Mike Miller, and you got yourself a trio that you can really look for to building something sustainable here with the Knicks.
But T,
that's just my take on it.
I got to get in here because something that you said in
Yes.
terms of consistency and, with the team, with Mike Miller, what does it matter in terms of consistency for them if they're not necessarily going to stay here with the new coach? Well, how about consistency for the coach? Like I said, he has people, a trusted group of individuals that continue to go with him from Chicago to Minnesota. You have Ed Pinckney. You have Andy Greer. You have Rick Brunson, who's also Leon Rose's first client, and they're, longtime friends.
With the Mavericks, though.
Yes.
Right?
Yes. But again, what about the consistency for Thibs?
Yeah.
It may be more so worth to invest in that. Again, if we're not keeping as many players as we may think.
Well, I believe in the NBA, there's obviously in life, there's such thing as 6 degrees of separation. I believe in the NBA, there may be like 2 or 3 degrees separation, right?
Yep.
So Mike Miller worked on the staff with Jeff Van Gundy. Jeff Van Gundy and Tom Thibodeau are like butt buddies for life. So you best believe that Jeff Van Gundy is in Tom Thibodeau's ear like, listen, you got to bring my boy on. He knows what he's doing. Mike Miller is the real deal, and that's the consistency.
I know this is a sin as a Knicks fan to say.
Yes.
But if our head coach is taking advice from Jeff Van Gundy, I think we have a small problem.
Why?
Yeah, what's wrong
I'm
with
not
that?
sure if that's the best person to advise on
Within
what's happening with
context,
the New York
yes.
Knicks
You don't
right
think
now.
before he accepted the job, Thibs called up Jeff Van Gundy and was like, "Hey man, what do you think about my situation?"
I'm sure. I'm
All right,
sure he
so-
did. I'm sure he did. But what's Jeff Van Gundy going to say? No, don't take the 5-year $1 billion contract this dumbass organization is
Absolutely,
about to
because
hand
I
you.
wouldn't.
Yeah.
Because I wouldn't.
I
Maybe
wouldn't
he
either.
hasn't
But
got
that's
the
what I'm
money,
saying.
bro.
It's a lot of
I'm not-
pressure, bro. It's
I'm
a
not
lot of
quite
Maybe his
sure how much-
finances are great.
I'm
Maybe
not
his
quite sure- I'm
401k
not sure
is
how much-
A1.
How much net
He's got
benefit
that Ross.
I know
Jeff
that Rob
Van Gundy
had. He has a rollover too.
I don't know,
You
because
got
I
that
read a
rollover,
report
baby.
that Mike Miller and Mike Woodson have a lot of
I agree with you.
inside support.
TK,
I
I
agree.
want
in the
to
Knicks.
touch on what
Yeah,
you
shoot.
said about Mike Woodson and Mike Miller. What's nice about that trio, if it were to exist, is I think they all have the right temperament for each other. Mike Miller seemed to be a serious guy that also kind of was authentic and had the respect of his players. I think Thibs falls under that category. And I think Mike Woodson would be in that category as well. And I would like to see the Knicks start making hirings and decisions that kind of restore some karmic good. Like you were saying,
Yes.
Woodson belongs here. So yeah, I'd like that.
Bring
coaching. I think
Carmelo back while you're at it.
Nah, let's time out there.
Give me Pat Ewing as the offensive coordinator.
Jesus.
Pipe dream.
Steph, back to you. I mean, Pete, back to you.
Let's just bring back Phil Jackson for shits and giggles. Let's get Mike
No,
Bibby
Pete,
too,
back
so we
to
have
you.
all the Mikes in the world.
Mike
Yeah.
Bibby.
No, I'm with you. So I'm with you on that.
Gay kid.
There's
a
something
player.
about those three coaches together that gives me like a positive feeling. I think they'd work well off each other, and I think the players would benefit off it as well. And I like what you guys are saying about the hiring, suggesting that we want a quick rebuild, that we're not here to develop players, that we want to get a winning culture in automatically. I don't know. Maybe that's a good thing. Maybe that's a nice change for once, because the whole like starting from the ground up thing does get a bit tiring. I don't know about you guys.
All I want to put into the world,
Yeah.
into this universe, is
For sure.
the Knicks are the most valuable franchise. Imagine if they were winning.
Oh my God.
I agree, man.
Bro, it would be
double.
astronomical, the numbers. Imagine if they were winning, Dolan. You're already rich. You could be richer.
We take the NBA to a whole nother level, man.
Yes. Yes.
I just want to add something here.
Make Jeff
So-
Bezos want to buy a team, bro. Make him
Hell
jealous.
no. Why
Make
would you
him
want
jealous.
that, Jay?
No.
Why
Make
would
it
you
so
want that?
successful that Jeff
since-
Bezos is like, yo, I don't want to go into space anymore. I need to get an NBA team.
Nah, bro.
Steph, real quick, since we're talking about Dolan, I just want to bring up one point, and that is the New York Liberty just debuted their star rookie, Sabrina Ionescu, 2 days ago, and
Props.
she had a hell of a game. Props to the Liberty for getting out of the Dolan clutches. Now they're playing for the Brooklyn Nets owner. So watch that franchise turn around and deliver a championship well before the New York Knicks come
damn.
close to it.
Yeah,
I'm
that
watching.
Go ahead, Steph.
Oh damn. Yeah, I was gonna say, it's been a long time since we've I've been thinking about what Pete mentioned about building around the coaching staff. I mean, like, we've tried changing the president, we've tried changing the GM, we've tried changing the players, but it's interesting now when T's putting it in that perspective of the stability of having Mike Miller trickle down to like the next level coach, but them having that trust of him being the head coach for a little while and being such a player development coach, and then having that trust still there, sitting right below a new basketball mind that's going to come in that's inking a long-term deal. So it might, again, like, attract more players. It might attract the coaching staff. It might, now that I'm thinking more about it, it really might help filter out a better team. And I don't know what the deal is amongst like Dolan and him having any basketball input. I don't know what that's going to be like, but it's going to be interesting to see, I think.
Yeah,
Either way.
you make a really good point in that I think if the Knicks can in any way possible try to discount or try to counteract the nonsense of New York. So if they can hire a coaching staff and management who can keep James Dolan at bay and can control the media from getting too overhyped on these young players or get too shit talking these young players, I think that is what's going to potentially bring that success. So I give the Knicks props for hiring Thibodeau, who's definitely going to do that. I think a guy like Mike Miller has already experienced the worst of New York. Woodson has experienced what New York's like. Obviously, Kenny Atkinson has. Jason Kidd is like, he has no reason to leave LA, but if he ends up coming here too, like I could understand some of those moves, but every single move from now on has to really indicate that the Knicks are for real doing something different and not the same exact stuff that they tried 5, 4, 3, 2 and last year.
Now there's really no excuse.
Well, aside, I know we're strictly talking about coaching staff here and stuff, but I want to make 2 points. One, really, really quickly. I just want to say one of the most criminal things that has been taking place in the NBA, I need to give my man a shout out here, is Mark Jackson has not gotten any interviews or not been back on the bench in the NBA. I think that's absolutely disgusting to me. I think his character, whatever, maybe he didn't get along with the front office, but his coaching record and what he did for those players absolutely should speak for itself. And the fact that he didn't even get an interview in New York is disgusting. But I want to move on to another point. What we said about. Are you
surprised?
I am. I'm extremely surprised. Mark Jackson has been out of the league since 2013.
In terms of New York, are you surprised that New York didn't interview him for a head coaching
absolutely.
job?
Absolutely. While
Didn't
we're
they
giving
interview
out
him like 2 years ago though.
Well, no, he was in the rumors the last 5 years, but this year he wasn't. That's a good point.
I know, but we for sure interviewed him like a year, 2 years ago.
GM, new president. Like, why not at least give him an interview?
Leon Rose looks out for his own, man. He's an agent. That's what he's going to do, and that's why I have a big fear of this hiring and this what's coming together here.
But what you guys said before about how everything that the Knicks have done, it needs to kind of align with itself. So you know how in the past there were some questionable moves where like, well, how does this guy fit, or where did this guy come from? It kind of seemed like they were trying to put together a puzzle with different pieces, right?
Yeah,
this
like
here
4 or 5
is
power
something
forwards.
new. Right. That falls along with that. But this is something new that we have going on here. And there's been a lot of under the radar moves that could very well pan off. There's a lot of people talking who know a lot more about basketball than I do that have been crediting these moves. And I just want to name a few. Stealing Walt Perrin from the Utah Jazz. He's a huge one of the most respected talent evaluators in the game right now. Hiring the 26-year-old scouting prodigy in Alex Klein from the New Orleans Pelicans.
Nice.
We also got Frank Zanin from Oklahoma City Thunder to oversee pro scouting, and we already know what their scouting department has done in previous years. We also signed the best capologist in the game, who's Brock Aller. And not
Cleveland.
to mention, from Cleveland, exactly. That the best capologist, bar none.
Yeah.
And,
like he's not even a basketball
what's a
fan, but the
capologist?
way that he looks at the shit, like it's just like numbers, like on a
the
little
numbers
playing
guy.
field.
He's
on
the
a
guy
salary
that crunches
cap.
all the numbers, the salary
Yeah,
cap. Exactly.
yeah. He said that he
And,
did some creative trades for Cleveland to be able to just maneuver.
We also now, this is something new that we haven't heard from the Knicks in a long time, if ever, because the game has been transitioning into different style of play and more analytics, as we know. The Knicks also signed a strategy guy from Wharton, who's an MBA graduate that specializes in analytics by the name of Sean McLean. So the Knicks here they've really got a plan. They got a game plan. Whether they're forthcoming with that game plan and very transparent, that's yet to be seen. But Leon Rose here, not just looking out for his guys. And, I didn't even mention Worldwide West here. I didn't even mention him. He's the guy,
And Ja Rule.
Yeah, right. So we have a catalog of names, maybe 6 names I mentioned just now, of guys who are flying under the radar, but are the best or at the top of their game in what they do in their respective fields.
That to me is the most interesting hire, Worldwide West, because it is going to be amazing to see what he can do in an official capacity.
Yeah.
It's either going to be incredible or it's going to be incredibly underwhelming.
I don't know. Last memory I have of him is that first take interview, which did not impress.
That was a Worldwide West.
Yeah,
right?
that was
Steve
not-
Stout.
Yeah, that was
Who was that?
That was Steve Stout.
Oh, we hired him too, didn't we?
What's your
Yes,
credibility
we
like?
did.
We hired him too, didn't we?
We did.
Yeah, but he's our like social media marketing guru or something.
He wasn't supposed to be talking like that.
Yeah, he messed up, and we haven't heard from him since. He went back to like hip hop and stuff. I love Steve Stout though. Credit to him. He does what he does, and for hip hop and entertainment, he's the guy. But as far as what he said on First Take, he was a little out of pocket on that one.
Yeah, for real. Yo, T, I want to say that's awesome. Awesome info on the hirings, and I like what you're saying. I've always said, you guys know that, like, I feel like the Knicks needed a top-to-bottom sweep if they were ever going to kind of get out of the rut, and that included, you know, James Dolan. But I feel like this show needs a disclaimer in the beginning of every episode that's like everything we say is in the context of Dolan is still here. Because we all know because every episode, you know, it would just be about, you know, that, and we can't do that. So in the context of that, at least we're getting sort of top-to-bottom transformation kind of within that world, you know, outside of Dolan. And I'll gladly trade some cronyism for some competence if it means, like, you know, they're all hiring each other because they all know each other. Well, if they all can do a good job, and that's why they all have jobs and are getting hired, I'll take it, man. Exactly, I'll take it. So
yeah, not to mention these guys were employed by other teams. These aren't guys we just picked up off the street and were like, hey, do you know numbers? Yeah, okay, cool, you're on the Knicks. No, these are guys who were top of the line for other organizations with a proven track record. You know, we know Oklahoma City's their scouting department. We know what Worldwide West's connections are. We know what Alex Klein's you know, scouting abilities are, and so on and so forth. So I just want to say that I'm very excited for the moves that we made. Now, whether or not they pan out, that's debatable, and I don't want to sound overly optimistic, but this is new. This is definitely different from what we're used to.
I'm here for the nepotism. It's fine. I'm here for it.
Yeah, for real.
Yeah. Okay, I have a question for you.
Brothers, cousin, brother, family.
I have a question for y'all, yo. I have a question for y'all. So now let's just say we got Thibs, and let's just say the pipe dream happens. We got Mike Miller, we get Woodson, or not even. Fuck it, Mike Miller, and we got. All right. Are we still going with a LaMelo Ball, or I've been hearing rumors about an Anthony Edwards? Would we still want to go with the LaMelo Ball if we know now that Thibs is the new head coach, and let's say Mike Miller is assistant? Would that change our draft desires? Yeah, I think it's LaMelo or trade at this point. Unless you get the number 2 pick, obviously you will probably want to pick up Anthony Edwards. It's going to be tough to make a case if you have 3 through 9 or 10 is the lowest they can go. I'm not sure how well the Knicks benefit from that based on what they already have and based on the work that Thibs has done with young point guard Derrick Rose. I feel like LaMelo would be the easy pick. Yeah,
I agree.
So I would say a guard over a center, right? Just like regardless, I think going for a guard would make sense in this situation. Yeah.
Yeah, I say LaMelo. However, though, if we somehow get really a little bit much deeper into the draft, I'd say into the lottery. I, disclaimer, would personally look into this trade. I would put up Mitch. I would put up Mitch because I think he has such value.
Boy or something, right?
No, he has such value. I would actually draft Wiseman. But I would actually put up Mitch. If we don't get a point guard through the draft, put up Mitch and trade Mitch for a point guard and draft Wiseman.
Oh man, that's the same mistake that the Knicks always try to make is trade the only positive thing that they have going.
I'm saying if we do not draft a point guard, if we do not draft a point guard, which I think is a mistake if we don't do that, we need to trade for one. In a capable one.
Fair enough, but you can't trade someone Mitch. If you trade Mitch and the team still sucks, you're fucked forever. The fan base is just like
that's bad karma. That is bad
There's
karma.
no going back after trading Mitch. There's no going back after trading Mitch.
Since we're talking about hypotheticals here, I just, of course, Jay, you got me thinking that I've been reading a lot of reports and just, you know, hypotheticals, of course. But as far as I'm concerned, and I don't know how you guys feel about this, but I don't think it's going to take a whole lot to get Chris Paul. I really don't. I think well, hold on.
Gee, I'm surprised you want that. I'm surprised.
No. I'm not saying I want it, but I don't think it'll be a bad move. If we're trying to bring back some stability and relevancy and a guy who we know is going to mesh well with Thibodeau is going to be Chris Paul. And just hear me out here. It's not going to take much to get him. I can imagine a package of Kevin Knox and Frank Ntilikina or DSJ in combination with our big contracts like
hundreds of millions of dollars
of Gibson, of Portis, of of Ellington, those guys with the big year contract deals.
Do we even still have it on the books?
Yeah. We will, because some of them are player options and team options and stuff like that. So
Peyton.
yes, we could pick up the option and trade him. So I don't think it'll take much to get Chris Paul. Just imagine, okay, we have a roster with Chris Paul, RJ Barrett, and Mitchell Robinson, and we still get the luxury of drafting a LaMelo, a Anthony Edwards. That's something that I would be interested in doing, especially if I don't have to give up a huge haul for a guy who's 35, who I know is still a dog. He's not on his way down. He's still playing up to his ability. That's just one guy. But another guy, please pull this up. Yeah, let's just see. I think Chris Paul is a guy that we should be happy with if we do come away with him. He did get the OKC Thunder into the playoffs this year in the West.
Would you say
so
he's a
basically,
starter?
if we get Chris Paul, this number crunching guy that you mentioned has to do some serious work to get around $45 million a year for a 36-year-old point
this
guard.
guy's like Moneyball genius type.
I
shit,
agree.
though.
No, I no.
Allegedly,
I'm not
allegedly.
denying that. Also, Chris Paul, I think the impact he could have on the Knicks is probably comparable to the contract that he has. I don't think that's the case for every other team Chris Paul can be on, but I think for the Knicks, it's that Jason Kidd effect, a la 2012, 2013.
Yeah.
So if this is a salary that the Knicks are willing to take on, I think that actually is counterproductive to the let's rebuild fast thing, unless we go way over the salary cap. Because this is, you bring in Chris Paul to keep the young guys and build them up.
Right. You see what he's done with the young roster in OKC, and it's not like we don't have the money to spend.
Mm-hmm.
That's another beautiful thing about it, guys. We have the draft picks. We have the money. We're up there in okay, whoa, hold on.
I would be comfortable with this because, to your point, we can afford it, and it's like, what better mentor?
Exactly. And guys, another thing that I know we're getting deeper and deeper down the rabbit hole here, but in a year like this, where financially the NBA salary cap is going to be very uncertain, right? And a lot of teams will potentially be sellers in the next coming years, if not next season, due to the economy and what's going on and stuff like that. The only teams that will be self-sustainable and have the money to do so will be the New York Knicks. So this might be the year that we kind of finally were like, oh, thank God we're in a great market. We're in a New York market. Pete, go ahead.
Why don't we frame it this way?
Yeah.
Given this money that you're talking about, these picks that we have and these options that we have, would you rather hand this entire package of options to Scott Perry and Steve Mills, or to the current staff that we're building that has demonstrated proven competence? Now, anytime I want to get hopeful about the Knicks, it's like going into a relationship that you shouldn't be in. It's like, I'm getting ready to get hurt again, like, it's like down the line it's going to get ugly, but you just kind of can't help yourself. But at least this time I feel like we have something substantive to latch onto, because there are proven results, and there is a lot of tangible kind of assets to move around and play with. So I don't know about the trade situation, but I'm with you, T. I'm kind of just hearing you guys talk about it has made me a little more excited, for sure.
Well, I'm glad.
You're
man.
welcome.
It's because I think we're putting power into some competency. Sorry. Go ahead, Far.
No problem, man. So good point, and I agree. This is the exciting part. If in fact we can potentially head in an actual direction as a basketball team, that's exciting. I haven't had that in 4 years. It's great. So through 2021, restricted free agents, we still have Frank potentially. DSJ is probably gonna go. No more Wayne, no more Reggie. Unlikely to have Dotson back. Going down the list. RJ is definitely going to be here, hopefully. Kevin Knox is kind of a question mark. Iggy's still probably going to be in the G League. You got the Randall question, which is an interesting one. Taj might end up coming back now that Thibs is in play.
I agree.
And just having that veteran presence would be nice. And then you got Mitchell Robinson. You better re-up that in 2021. And, of course, we can't forget Thibs' favorite guy here, still getting paid $6 million.
Yeah, buddy.
Secure that bag, Joakim. I see you, kid.
And
he may win a chip with the Clippers and still get paid from the Knicks. Yo, come on.
Facts.
That's some
My man
G
did it
shit.
right. This is what we're looking
also-
at. I mean, yeah.
What's up, guys? This is your boy TK, aka John Legend, as you guys know. I want to thank you guys for watching, and please make sure you do subscribe. And if you like what you saw from previous episodes, or if you just like our faces, make sure you hit that subscribe button below. But wait, please hit that like, comment, and share as well. I'll see you guys next time. Peace.